of West Side Neighbors, and we're going to start off with the candidates for District 3 for Colorado Springs City Council. Then we'll move to 2 flights of at-large candidates, and we'll wrap up this evening with the mayoral candidates, those of whom have graced us with their presence. So, with military efficiency, let's get started. We are going to have, for all the candidates, 3 questions, which require a 50-second or less response. There'll be 2 questions requiring a yes or no answer, and then a final 60-second wrap-up from each of the candidates. So, without further ado, we're going to start our first question with former State Representative Mike Merrifield, and he is joined on stage by Lisa Czelatdko. These are the 2 declared candidates for District 3. We'll start with Mike Merrifield. First question: should vacation home rental properties use the same process that is required for bed and breakfasts to become established?
Well, thanks for that question. And before I begin, I want to thank you all for showing up. I really appreciate it. I've been involved with the West Side for many, many years. I'm wearing this shirt. It says Coronado High School because I taught at Coronado High School for 16 years. I taught many of you, actually, or you were parents of children who went to Coronado. So I guess I'm showing that I am actually 64 years old. It's true. The question, actually, I thought was answered very well by the Neighborhood Association when they sent out the questions. They said that residents across the city desire VHRs to use a bed and breakfast process. I think that's good. I think the VHRs should pay their fair property taxes for commercial operation, like other commercial lodging properties, and that the law-abiding businesses and residents that pay their taxes not be burdened with subsidizing VHRs. I think there might have been some particular issue that they might have, this is an issue they might have had a real desire to have particular answers on, so I agree with what they said.
Very good. Lisa Czelatdko, you have 50 seconds.
This is a problem that is not exclusive to just my district, but it is important for my district. I've spoken with many of the owners of different lodgings, and this is a concern. There's a concern with parking, there's a concern with zoning, and this is definitely something that in my district we do need to look at, and it needs to be discussed. I will be your voice for this district. I will be strong. I will ask the tough questions. And any issues that's important to you, I'm accessible, and I will be there advocating for the neighborhoods. Thank you.
Okay. The next question, we'll start with Lisa Czelatdko. How would you propose to fix the long-standing no man's land problem here on the west side?
I actually just had the pleasure of walking with a lot of the West Side merchants in that area. I saw it firsthand. I know there's a concern with the business owners with the type of problems that are significant. And I think that that area needs to have collaboration. It needs collaboration with my district. It needs collaboration with Manitou Springs, and it's a little tricky. It has areas with the county, it has areas with the city, and this is definitely something that as your city councilor that I would address. I think it's an area that's been a little overlooked and that we definitely need to look at adding our streets, look at adding our curbs. This is something important for District 3. Thank you.
Michael Merrifield.
Well, this was a problem back when I was on Manitou Springs City Council, and we worked and were not able to find a solution at that time. What I do remember is we never sat down with all the stakeholders to get their advice on what kind of solutions we could come up with. So if I'm elected to City Council, I will bring together the neighborhood, the people who live in that area, the businesses, the county, City of Colorado Springs, and City of Manitou Springs, and we'll sit down and come up with solutions in partnership that will address what's been a problem for a long time.
Okay. Next question for Mr. Merrifield. Would you support making the Highway 24 I-25 interchange the City of Colorado Springs' #1 transportation priority at the Pikes Peak Area Council of Governments?
Well, I couldn't promise to do that. There are so many priorities, there's so many improvements in our roads and highway systems that need to be addressed. To say that I would promise to make that number one, I think would be tying my hands and before we really get to see what the necessities are, where the funding is, and where we should put the greatest amount of our efforts. That being said, I have watched that situation. I've been involved with the Highway 24 planning for some time. I've advocated strongly for some changes to CDOT. I went to CDOT and expressed my concerns with some of the things they were recommending, and expressed some of your concerns that you let me know when I was your state representative. So, long story short, we have a lot of needs. Whether that would be number one, I'm sorry that I can't promise right now.
All right. Lisa Czelatdko.
Well, I'm actually very knowledgeable on this because I sit on the CAC for PPACG, and this is something that's extremely important for this district, and it really does need to be a regional priority. I know there are concerns about the expansion of 24, and that we also need to take into consideration to make sure no harm is done. It is a priority for District 3, and I think that that's something that we need to make sure that we voice. District 3 has specific strengths and challenges, and that's why you need a strong voice up there. We need to let people know what needs to be done and that it is a priority for us, and I believe that the 24 is a priority. Thank you.
Okay. Now we move to the penultimate round. Yes or no? Do you support collective bargaining for city employees?
I absolutely.
Two questions. I thought we were going to do three for the yes or no. Was it the third question?
It was the third.
I am getting 64 years old.
Now see, if you were a county commissioner, you'd know how to count to 3. I'm sorry, I couldn't resist. First question for Ms. Czelatdko. Do you support collective bargaining for city employees, yes or no?
No.
Mr. Merrifield.
I am not going to answer yes or no because that is a very complicated question.
Okay, second question. Yes or no, would you attempt to repeal or modify the City of Colorado Springs unique Tabor legislation?
Yes.
Ms. Czelatdko?
No.
Final.
Would you please make a statement? I request everybody, no cat calls, no boos, or anything like that. Please be respectful to the candidates.
Final 60-second wrap-up from each of the candidates.
Well, once again, thanks very much for letting us state our opinions. You can get more of my opinions if you go to my website, michaelmerrifield.org. But I want to remind you that you know me. You've known me for the past 8 years, and the majority of you have supported me. I've run for election 5 different times where you have supported me, the majority of the West Side. I've stood up for you. I stood up for you and worked solutions so that we could purchase Section 16. I worked for you in addressing needs to CDOT about Highway 24. I worked for you to get the historic overlay. I wrote letters to the Historic Preservation Committee in the state and to the City Council. And I appreciate your support, and I hope you'll continue to support me. We are facing some sea changes in city government. And as Professor Bob Levy from CC said, this is not the time for the city to be led by novices and rookies. So it's not the time for job training. I hope that you'll give me the opportunity to continue to represent you. Thank you.
Lisa Czelatdko, your final 60 seconds.
Well, I'm going to say this isn't the time for familiarity. This is a time for new, fresh people and new, fresh ideas. People, we need to get excited. This is a chance to have new representation here. This is a chance to see and show the country how wonderful our city is and what we have to offer. I've always lived in District 3. I have 4 children in District 3 schools. I'm a runner. I'm on the trails. I'm in the parks. I'm in the shops. I'm in the businesses. I'm in the restaurants. I am somebody who loves this community. I sit on many boards and commissions. because I believe that we need to be educated, we need to be accessible. I'm on every social media, I am always here if you have any questions, and please, I would really appreciate your support. Take a look. Take a look at what new representation could be in local government and start feeling good about your government. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you both. And with that, we'll bring up the next round of candidates. Don't forget your campaign literature.